And remember, when people are addicted, when addiction sets in, you have a disease, a mental health disease. There is violence among drug abusers. If I'm taking drugs, I may start thinking that Alex have been planning to hurt me. But Alex, you are not planning anything. I'll be violent. I will sell my things. I'll sell my father's things. Addiction will set in, and so many other issues.
Why is that our top celebrities are allowed to smoke in front of a camera, but them are not allowed to smoke? I'm not going to mention name, but our top celebrities, you see them abusing the same drugs that we, the younger ones, are doing. Then you guys will come after us.
There's no exception. One of the critical things that the agency have noticed is that celebrities have audience.
Okay.
They have listeners. Celebrities are supposed to be instruments of change. Celebrities ought to be good role models for our young people. I watched Brenda Fassie during the opening of the All-African Games. When she sang during the opening ceremony, she has started showing signs of drug use there, and she later died of cocaine overdose. The music industry have lost many. And when you see, for instance, our own celebrities doing that, you may not be understanding correctly what role or what influence you have over the young people. There are about 400 different chemicals that have been isolated from marijuana. When you burn it, it will decompose to about 60 different chemical subclasses. THC, one of the greatest ingredients, stays in this brain for the next 45 days. If you smoke one today, it's not alcohol. It doesn't leave the body. When you have hangover, the next day you are up. No, not marijuana. There's a behavior that you form as soon as you start using all these drugs. Alcohol, the same thing. We have seen many in the streets who are staggering, who have lost it.
Lost their mind.
With all these sachets you see here, we have lost many in the music industry. Our brother Fela, Whitney Houston, Brenda Fassie, Michael Jackson, it's just so many. Cocaine, for instance, is a stimulant. When you take it, you want to go places. You want to do things you can't do with your normal, natural strength. It may give you strength to do your music, but it will take away those things later down the years in the line. About 14.4 million persons between the ages of 15 and 68 have used substances in the previous year. 10.8 million persons that have used marijuana. 1 in 4 is a woman.
Welcome back, guys. This is your boy, Real Talk with the Billions. You know what it is now, the fine black boy. So today, like I promised you guys, we're going to be bringing the top agencies in Nigeria. So today, we have the NDLEA with us. And today, I'm going to give my boss the chance of introducing himself to us. I don't know if you can, give us the chance of introducing yourself today.
Okay, thank you very much, Alex.
Okay.
For having us in your wonderful studio. My name is Nduka Augustine, Chief Superintendent of Narcotics, and I work currently with the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency in FCT Strategic Command in Gudu. And it's a pleasure being in your studio this afternoon. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. It's a privilege to have the NDLEA with us today because it was not easy to catch these guys, my viewers, because it's been back and forth, sending a lot of invites. So today, sir, I'm going to be asking you some basic questions, first of all, to be able to educate my generation, because there's a whole lot of drug abuse today. If you go to the social media space, you see a lot of my young generation going into Colorado or whatever they call it, taking drugs, just want to be high, feeling is the best, the best inspiration or the best level of highness. So I want you to educate us on the abuse of it and tell us what are the implications when be caught abusing drugs.
Okay. Once again, thank you very much, Alex, for having us in the studio. I would like to thank your management for setting up a wonderful studio like this, just very close to us. And I would also like to bring greetings from my commander,
Thank you, sir. We appreciate.
He's an assistant commander general of narcotics.
Thank you, sir.
Julius Zah.
Okay.
He sends his felicitations to
Thank you,
your
sir.
studio and
Thank you,
for
sir.
the privilege of working
Ah,
with the media.
we are privileged to
To
have you guys in our studio, sir. We are very privileged to have you
yes.
guys in our studio.
So quite briefly, it will be important for us to actually um, know the NDLEA, which
Okay.
is the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency,
Okay.
currently being led by our chairman, Brigadier General Buba Marwa, retired, who has been able to transform the agency to what we are seeing today. The important thing that we actually need to go straight into is about the issue of drugs. And Alex, I always like to start the conversation by trying to let people know what drugs means, a basic definition, so that will be on the same page. Yes. In medical science, it defines drugs as substances from plants, or it could be synthesized in the laboratory. But when you take it into our bodies through a lot of avenues, your goal is to prevent a disease, or to treat an already existing disease, or to diagnose, that's to find out the presence of diseases inside the body of that particular man or an animal that you are administering the drugs to.
Okay.
But this is medical science definition.
Okay.
It is important to have this basic understanding because we know that if, for instance, you are feeling feverish, maybe you are down with malaria, you have to go and look for the anti-malarials.
Yes.
Against malaria. And when you take it, that's usually through the mouth, then it goes work on the malaria and you are fine some days later.
Okay.
So that is drugs for you. It could be from plants. We know a lot of people go pluck from trees, from leaves, from roots, and they boil it and take for medicinal purposes, for healing. So drugs can come from plants naturally. Drugs can also come from the laboratory. In other words, they've been synthesized in the laboratory. But like I said earlier, your goal is to prevent a disease that has not been contracted, or to treat the one that is already in the body, or to diagnose.
Yes.
So this is drugs for medical science. But in law enforcement, we always try to encourage people that, having known this medical definition, that you also know the law enforcement side. Anything I take into my body, through either mouth, nose, whatever route it passes, and it enters my body and causes a change in structure and function and behavior, that thing qualifies to be called a drug in law enforcement.
Okay.
And that is why, Alex, for instance, if coming to your studio, maybe I'm feeling sleepy, and I take some cola nuts, and I chew the cola nut through my mouth, and suddenly my eyes are awake, I couldn't sleep anymore. Cola nut came into my body through my mouth and has caused a change in structure and function. The behavior dimension is that at another time when I have these events and I'm not feeling sleepy, I may start wanting cola nut. There's a behavior dimension to all drugs. Cola nut will do that. Coffee will do that. That's why we have the decaffeinated coffees now. Alcohol will do that. There's a change in structure and function when people start exposing themselves to alcoholic products. We have a lot of sachets of that. We're going to talk about that.
Okay.
So you discover that there are a lot of substances that when you take into your body, that will cause a change in structure and functioning, and also a behavior dimension. Cola nut do that, coffee do that, alcohol will do that, tobacco will do that. Tobacco and tobacco products. Then these ones I've mentioned now are the one we call the social drugs, the gateway drugs. Nobody may arrest you when you are chewing cola nut, drinking coffee, then taking alcoholic products, taking tobacco and tobacco products. Nobody will arrest you. But Are they addictive like every other drug? Of course. You start drinking alcohol, various brands of alcohol, people get addicted to it. You start eating cola now, you keep eating every day, you may not know why. That's the behavioral dimension. Start drinking coffee, a lot of coffee issues, cola not the same thing, and all these products. These are called social drugs now. You are not going to arrest anybody while taking them. Are they addictive? Yes, they get people addicted. Can they kill? Of course, tobacco and alcohol globally have been known to do that, but nobody will be arrested. They are socials. But beyond the socials, you have the prohibited drugs and banned substances. That's where the NDLEA work comes in. You talk about, for instance, prescription medication like pentazocine that we have here, then rohypnol that we have here, then of course marijuana. This is the seed of marijuana. It's a plant. When you plant them, it will germinate. Then these are also all marijuana products. Then, of course, prescription medication like these are codeine-based cough syrup, cough medications. They are all substances that have been subject to abuse in our today's society. Of course, I did not forget cocaine. I did not forget heroin. I did not forget methamphetamine, that's ice. I did not forget the various brands of marijuana, the Colorado, the Loud, the Arizona AZ, and various other brands of marijuana and marijuana products. So, Alex, what we are looking at is a global issue, a problem that is increasing. Pentazocine, like I just mentioned, is a prescription medication. There are a lot of cases where we have people who are being managed for sickle cell anemia, and they just get injected with pentazocine. It's a painkiller. You are crying, you are feeling the pain of sickle cell anemia. You are given this injection, you start smiling the next moment. It kills pain. But today, that person I'm talking to you about is injecting this every 4 hours. She cannot do without it. These are prescription medication. Not to talk about tramadol, is also a pain-killing kind of medication. They are opiates. Of course, we've been talking about tobacco and tobacco-based products. These are vapes. These are vape pens. No longer the snuff that our elders put in the nose.
So, sir, I would love to ask you to educate us and educate my generation about the abuse of these drugs. I don't know if you can help my generation and try to educate us about it, on the abuse of it.
Okay. Thank you once again, Alex, for the conversation going on. Well, the drug that is before us here is tramadol.
Okay.
Tramadol is one of the pain-killing drugs. I'm sure we're going to look a little bit later on the various groups or classes of drugs.
Okay.
Tramadol is in the same class with the pentazocine. They are pain-killing drugs. You know, Alex, there are a lot of pains in life.
Yeah.
There are pains due to toothache.
Yeah.
There are pains due to arthritis. There
Okay.
are women that have menstrual pain.
Yeah.
Then there are so many pains in life. So, in management of pain, even in medicine, these medications does that. But don't forget that a single drugs that heals is the same drugs that can get people addicted. That's why this class of drugs are classified as prescription only medications. They are drugs that you should not be able to access until you bring a prescription from a medical expert who understands your age, who understands the milligram to give you, who understands how many days you should take it and you should stop. Otherwise, there's a thin line between addiction to these drugs and rightly using it. A lot of people get hooked to these drugs. That is why the agency, the NDLEA, is fighting to ensure that people don't keep using these drugs until they abuse it. For instance, Alex, these are various brands of codeine-based cough syrup. Codeine is in the same class of drugs. They are all opium-based drugs. Opium is a poppy, is a plant. From opium, you get heroin. From opium, you get morphine. From there, you get codeine. That's the codeine in codeine-based cough syrups. The codeine is supposed to make you relax, release the chesty pains people have when they cough and their heart muscles are expanding and congesting and expanding. Then there's an antibiotic that kills the germ. But this same codeine in that cough syrup can get people addicted to the cough syrup. That's why right now you see people, someone will go and buy this from a pharmacy or a chemist, and you are telling him or her, take 5 meals in the morning, 5 meals in the afternoon, or 5 in the night. The person opens the bottle of 100 meals, empties the 100 ml in his mouth, and throw away the bottle and walks away. That is abuse. That is addiction. So there's a thin line between rightly using some of these drugs. That's why some of them are classified as prescription only. In other words, you cannot buy it until you present a prescription from a medical expert who understands the nature of these substances. I was earlier mentioning about my friend who currently injects herself because she's a sickle cell patient. And you know the pain that comes with crisis of sickle cell anemia. She was just giving this. She will tell you that she regretted the day the doctor first gave her pentazocine to kill her pain. I met another young lady at one of the schools just the other day. She said her sister had ulcer of the stomach. And in managing the pain of that ulcer, she was given pentazocine. The father is a medical person. He understands the addictive nature of this and is trying to get her off it. But now she scales the fence to go and have herself injected with pentazocine. No longer for managing ulcer anymore, but she has been hooked to it. I think at this point, let me just quickly a little bit mention that the NDLEA, of course, we came in our Act, Decree 48 of 1989, now known as Cap N30, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004, as amended, our current Act, though, of course, is undergoing some reviews currently. So the Act gives us, empowers us to go after people planting the illegal drugs. Earlier, I talked about social drugs, alcohol, tobacco, coffee. Nobody will arrest you while doing that.
Yes.
Are there those that kill and get people addicted? Yes, of course. Are you going to arrest anybody drinking alcohol? No, except in religious-based areas, maybe like Sharia law prohibits you drinking. If you go and drink in those areas, you can be arrested based on that. But these are social drugs. Can they kill? Yes. Do you arrest people? No. But the illegal drugs is where the NDLEA assignment starts. And we're talking about marijuana, drugs like pentazocine, tramadol, methamphetamine, that's ice, then all variants of marijuana, Colorado, AZ, Loud, just name them. They are all there. So our Act empowers us to go and make sure that people don't produce these illegal drugs. Yes, because these drugs are not wild. For instance, you buy a piece of land and leave it for 20 years. You can never see marijuana grow. You 100%. Can never see cocaine grow there.
That's true.
You can never see opium from where you get heroin grow there.
That's true.
You can never see even coffee and normal cola nut. They are not wild. Wild plants just grow. Nobody plants them. So in our laws, our law prohibits you from planting these drugs. A lot of them are plants, don't forget. Cocaine is a plant. From erythroxylon coca, that's a plant. Marijuana, the seed is here, is a plant too. Opium is a plant. So the law says don't plant them. If we see you planting them, I've served in Ondo State. I've served in areas close to Uzeba, all those axes, Ekiti. We have plantations in those areas, marijuana plantation. That's why we go there to the farms. We arrest those planting marijuana because the law prohibits you from planting.
It. Okay.
Then the law further says, don't move, don't distribute it. Even if it's planted, leave it there. Because if you don't move it from the plantations to where it's not planted, people that are in the places where it's not planted will not feel the negative impact. That's why the NDLEA is on the highways. That's why the NDLEA also is at the airports. That's why the NDLEA is at the seaports. That's why the NDLEA is in all our land borders. Seme border, Ilela border, Malumfashi border, all the border towns in this country, the NDLEA is there. The NDLEA is also in the seaport because people import containers of tramadol. There's a 400 milligram, there's a 1 gram of tramadol. It's not for the hospitals anymore. It's for the streets. So the NDLEA is ensuring that you don't move. For instance, cocaine is not planted in Nigeria. People travel to Colombia. People travel to Colombia, basically South American country, where they grow cocaine. They go swallow up to like 100 wraps or 150 in their stomach and take a flight from Colombia. Maybe they go through UAE, then they come into maybe Abuja or Lagos Airport or Enugu Airport, as the case may be. That's why the NDLEA is at the airport. So when we see such travelers with our scanners, we can profile as people are coming. Our scanners will scan you and we see those things in your tummy. A good number of them, they are not lucky. One could just burst in their stomach. That's death. We witnessed things like that. And the person is already dead, and we go for opening up. The drugs are collected because the person has passed on. Those are couriers. They are not the owner of the drug. They may not afford to pay for those drugs, those 100. They are couriers. Their job is just to transport using their body as a transport vehicle. So when they come into this country, the owners are waiting in a hotel and they go and start excreting, shitting, as the case may be. When we arrest such people, we place you on observation and we give you food because oftentimes they don't eat on those flights. If you eat, you want to go to toilet. Okay. So when we get them, we keep them, give them food to eat. When they finish eating, few hours later, they want to go to toilet. We will accompany them. 2 persons must observe you to have evidence in court that I witnessed when you excreted. For instance, if you have swallowed like 100 pellets of cocaine, you can't bring out the 100 in one single excretion. You can bring out 10 in one. The next day you bring out 5. So as you keep going, it can take you 4 or 5 days for your excretion to be complete. You know how much the quantity you swallow. So when it's all out, you will also know. That will be compiled with a case file for prosecution at the Federal High Court. So, Alex, the drug thing is huge. We have not delved into methamphetamine, that's ice, that is produced in our laboratories in this country by chemists and all that, people that have been flown into this country to do that.
Okay, sir. Sorry to cut you. There's a question I want to ask you from what you just said. My generation thinks these are crews. If you go online today, you will see a whole lot of young boys, young girls taking it as if it's crews. And when you guys go after them, they will come online and say you guys are harassing them because freedom of living the way you are. So I want to ask: is it a crime for taking what was it called these Colorado or these drugs, or is it a crime in abusing it? So which one is the crime? If you for example, now I go to the pharmacist to get it. If the NDLEA caught me, will I be penalized for it, or is when I'm being abusing it, that's when I'm going to be, penalized for it?
Okay, thank you once again. The issue about this controlled or banned drugs, let me say there are two types. For the prescription medicine, pentazocine, maybe tramadol.
Yes, tramadol.
Even for tramadol, for instance, the Federal Ministry of Health recommends only about 50 to maybe 100 milligram tramadol for medical purposes that can be prescribed. But you have, this is like 225, there's a 400 milligram tramadol, there's even 500 milligram, and 1 gram, not milligram now, 1 gram in one tablet. Those are not for the hospitals, it's for the streets. The companies making them knows that it's not for medical use. It's for addiction.
So it's eventually illegal.
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
So I hope you guys are hearing it now. It's illegal.
So basically, sir, these ones are prescription medicine. You should not have access to it until you bring a prescription
from the doctor.
From a doctor. And the doctor knows what quantity
you
should be given. But those that are already addicted to it, they keep going every day because they are already addicted. They can't do without it anymore. That is what the government is trying to prevent our youth from getting into for these prescription medicines. Then the other side is the controlled or illegal drugs, marijuana, cocaine, heroin, then methamphetamine, that's ice.
Yeah.
These drugs are banned substances, yes. Some of them may have medical use. That's why when we charge you to court, we charge you for unlawful possession. Unlawful trafficking, unlawful consumption, unlawful cultivation. The word unlawful there shows that some of them may have medical and scientific use. So if a government, for instance, let me say pharmaceutical companies, they import cocaine and all the other drugs to use in manufacturing other drugs, they will have to go to NAFDAC to obtain a license to import it, to use them in manufacturing of drugs. So that one is a lawful process for them because they are using it for manufacturing. But by the time you now start going to get, you don't have any manufacturing concern. You don't have any research you are doing with them, with these substances. Then you are importing it to abuse, to use on your body or on other people. And you are getting addicted to it. And you are becoming violent because this drug have behavioral dimension. When I was defining it, I said, there's a behavior that you form as soon as you start using all these drugs. Alcohol, the same thing. We have seen many in the streets who are staggering, who have lost it.
Lost their minds.
Their minds. With all these sachets you see here. So there's a behavioral dimension to all these drugs. We have lost many in the music industry.
Yeah.
Our brother Fela, Whitney Houston, Brenda Fassie, Michael Jackson, just so many in the music industry. Because cocaine, for instance, is a stimulant. When you take it, you want to go places. You have energy. You want to do things you can't do with your normal, natural strength. And some of our brothers, musicians, didn't know that once you start using them, the drug takes over. It may give you strength to do your music, but it will take away those things later down the years in the line when it has started disturbing your mental health.
Okay, sir. I want to ask you a question. I have a chance to meet with Omoyele Showore, and he was saying something about cannabis oil that is more expensive than a crude oil. So, is it a good idea if Nigeria legalized cannabis oil? Because according to him, he said in America is one of their biggest, source of income in, helping the economy. So but when it comes back to Nigeria, it now becomes illegal. So do you think it's actually a good idea for the government to look into it? by trying to legalize cannabis, like cannabis. I just want you to speak on that because I can see that you are well grounded in what you are doing. So I just like you to speak on that.
Okay, well, Alex, I know this is a sensitive policy issue
Yeah.
also that should be the purview of my leadership. Currently, I know our chairman has also been speaking to people about it. The major issue about cannabinoids and cannabis oil is oils that have been made from marijuana. One of the challenges that we are currently having is that Nigeria is coming up in terms of data collection and statistics. We are still
Yes.
coming up. The last UNODC survey about the number of people using drugs and having issues was done in 2018. It's called Nigerian Drug Use Survey 2018. That was when they said about 14.4 million persons between the ages of 15 and 68 or so have used substances in the previous year. That time they talked about 398 persons with drug use disorder, 10.8 million persons that have used marijuana. Then 1 in 4 is a woman.
What the fuck?
So that study was done in 2018. But you find out that in our country, some of these countries, like maybe in the US where you do cannabinoid oil, they can monitor these productions.
Yeah, because they have database
They
and
have
statistics
data,
collection.
they know the number of people in their hospitals, they know the number of people who are having these challenges and all that. But I said we are still coming up in this area.
Okay.
So if we talk about legalizing for now, are we going to monitor?
Eat.
Because if you want to legalize, you have to ensure that the marijuana you are producing,
It's being
that you
monitored.
are only using it to produce cannabis oil. Cannabis oil, they say, have a lot of therapeutic benefits or use. For instance, cannabis, for instance, makes people to want to eat. That's why THC have been isolated from cannabis and was given to HIV/AIDS patients who doesn't want to eat food. It will make them to want to eat. THC is the active ingredient in marijuana. So if you want to legalize now, you should be able to put controls.
In place.
How can we can't even know the number now. We can't even control the number of young people. But people are making cases for legalization. People are making cases. Let's start farming it for money. But how do you monitor what you have farmed to ensure that it doesn't go to the streets where everybody wants to smoke? Remember, Alex, that when you burn cannabis, when you set it on fire and start smoking, there are about 400 different chemicals that have been isolated from marijuana. And when you burn it, it will decompose to about 60 different chemical subclasses. THC is one of the greatest ingredients. Stays in this brain for the next 45 days. If you smoke one today, it's not alcohol. It doesn't leave the body. When you have hangover, the next day you are up.
You're
No,
all
not,
right.
not marijuana. If you smoke one today, in the brain, the THC is still there. That's why currently, when we have an MOU with University of Abuja, and a lot of universities are signing up with the NDLEA drug testing. The drug issue have become a growing menace. And that's why universities are signing up for drug testing. You have to show that you are not
A drug abuser or
abusing drugs
students.
to enter the university. And remember, when people are addicted, when addiction sets in, you have a disease, a mental health disease. Because these drugs, chemicals, stays in the brain. There is violence among drug abusers. It affects their thoughts. You may be thinking, as we're in the studio, if I'm taking drugs, I may start thinking that Alex have been planning to hurt me. But Alex, you are not planning anything. It is the brain that is sending that signal because this drug stays in the brain. I'll be violent. I will sell my things. I'll sell my father's things. I will addiction will set in, and so many other issues. It has become a social problem. It has become a medical problem. We don't even have enough of rehabs to now entertain the number of young people that are under drug influence currently. So that is the challenge in legalization.
Yes, I
We need to
think
be able to manage to ensure, even if we must produce,
yeah, it should be
for
monitored.
you have to have a place where you produce that oil and send it to the countries where
It needs to be sent to.
it needs.
I
Yes.
actually, I will say you give me a very perfect answer, because before you guys came, I actually did a video to my viewers and my listeners to be able to send in questions. So one of the questions I got from my, viewers and my community, they said I should ask the NDLA people, why is that our top celebrities are allowed to smoke in front of a camera, but them are not allowed to smoke? But whenever you guys can, catch them, you always want to sentence them. But our top celebrities, I'm not going to mention name, you understand? But our top celebrities, you see them abusing the same drugs that we the younger ones are doing. Then you guys will come after us. Please, can you throw more light on that? Because those are one of the questions one of my viewers sent.
To be honest with you, there's no
Exemption.
exemption or exception as far as the law is concerned. There's no exception. One of the critical things that the agency have noticed is that, and also a very challenging one, is that celebrities have audience.
Okay.
They have listeners. Celebrities are supposed to be instruments of change. Celebrities ought to be good role models for our young people. We are all witnesses to what it has done in the music industry. I've been following up as far back as 2003. I was serving in Ondo State. I watched Brenda Fassie during the opening of the All African Games in Abuja, 2003, when she sang during the opening ceremony. I think it was the then President Olusegun Obasanjo that was in government.
Yeah.
She had started showing signs of drug use then, and she later died of cocaine overdose.
Yeah.
The music industry have lost many, not one, not two. And we hear every day of people slumping. Celebrities, global celebrities this time around. So the question that drug is taking many is not something that... And when you see, for instance, our own celebrities doing that, you may not be understanding correctly what role or what influence you have over the young people. Or possibly, you may have been, let me use the word, bought over by the industry, by people who are producing this thing to now get more people into it.
That's true.
Who does not know that a lot of young people in families, Alex, there are so many families now, it's no longer an issue that is far from us. Even in my own not distant family members, we have young people that are having drug issues currently. So everyone knows the implication. And Alex, these celebrities, maybe people that smoke, the only difference is that they didn't start that early. Because as the brain mature, you may be able to manage it. I use the word you may be able. It will still affect you. Your anger will increase. Your ability to manage your wife and family will also, you will lose a lot of it. Your ability to even do well in your music or whatever profession you are a celebrity in will be affected. You may have anger issue. You don't know where the anger issue is coming
from.
It's coming from the drug you are taking. You will fire your manager once in a while. Very small thing, you get angry. Your mood is swinging.
Okay.
These are psychoactive drugs. They work on the brain and the central nervous system. Somebody say, how can you judge when all judgment is gone? The chemicals sit in your brain. It affects your mood. It affects your thoughts. It affects your thought process, the way you think. It affects behavior. You are a very quiet person before as a celebrity. When you start taking
drugs,
you start those small behavior. It affects them, Alex. And the irony is that you have a teenage audience you are controlling. Maybe they love your music and you are doing it on stage. No. NDLEA has not given any approval or any license. Nobody is exempted. Drug takes everyone. Is it just celebrities? Chief executives, organizations, families. It's called equal opportunity infection. It does not discriminate men, women, rich, poor, old. Social status is immaterial. Your color, no. Drug takes everyone. Whether you're a celebrity or not, it takes you. Check out, just use your mind, Alex. Run around families or people that are talking about currently now. The media will still write about one drug or other being involved in it.
Yeah.
So NDLEA has not given. The celebrities that are doing that does not know what they ought to be doing, because they ought to be role models, changing behaviors, changing patterns, getting our youth to be in the right profession or in the right track in life. That's what I think, Alex.
A very vital question, because you've literally explained almost all the drugs and the abuses of it, but you've not touched that one in the front. So I want you to still educate my generation about that one and my viewers on about that one you have in front there, so that they can be able to understand more about it and the abuse of it.
Okay, thank you, Alex. Are you referring to?
Yes, that one. Yes.
Okay, no, this is actually marijuana.
Okay,
weed.
just
This
like
is the seed that you will
Okay.
plant.
Okay.
Then this is a little bit compressed
Okay.
block of it.
Okay.
Basically, this is how they package it.
Package it.
But these ones are at times for export,
Okay.
for across our border towns. And let's not forget that the rise in terrorist and banditry issue,
Yeah.
people must take drugs to be able to commit these nefarious crimes. Oftentimes, our chairman has documented that in our joint military operations with the military, especially in the Northeast, that as you evade terrorist camps as they are running away, oftentimes cartons of tramadol are seen as they are leaving.
Yeah.
And of course, there could have been cases, or there are cases where the demand for drugs before even the ransom that they are asking for. It goes to tell you the connection or the nexus between drug trafficking, drug use, and the insecurity that we are also facing. That's why it is a subject matter that all law enforcement agencies need to put hands together. Is production, this illegal drug, is distribution. Marijuana is a plant, but methamphetamine is not a plant. It's something that is manufactured by scientists in the laboratory. These ones, pentazocine, are medically made drugs that have some medical use, if rightly used. But methamphetamine is just made by scientists in the lab. So trafficking in it, like I said earlier, is an offense. Moving it, trading in it is an offense. Using them is an offense. I think I didn't mention earlier these ones. These are rubber solution for vulcanizing or patching our bicycle tubes or our football.
Is this also drugs?
Yes, people sniff it. People that doesn't have any bicycle, doesn't have any football to patch. When I talk to young children, they say they use it to patch their brain. So people buy this. It's actually used by vulcanizers.
Okay.
When your tire or your tube
punctured,
has a puncture. So this is what they use in sealing it. But right now, if you bring 20 cartons of this in minutes in Abuja, you finish selling. But are we riding bicycles? No. Are we patching football? No, not anymore. But this thing is still being sold. So people are abusing it. And remember, abuse is when you are using something for a reason or a purpose that is not meant for. This is for patching bicycle tires, tubes, and all that. And somebody will now press all this into a container and begin to sniff it through the nose to his own brain. This is not why these companies made it. But remember that once people are addicted to drugs, they must look for it. They must look for it because they cannot face the withdrawal symptoms. Withdrawal symptom is how do they feel when they don't see their drugs to take? Alex, just remember somebody that smokes just cigarette. Maybe any of the cigarettes.
Yeah.
Just check him out when he has not seen, when he has not been able to light the next stick, or when he has a deadline he needs to smoke to be able to do that. When he has not seen it, he feels confusion in the brain. He can physically vibrate. Those are withdrawal symptoms. And a drug user will face it if he has not taken his drugs, whatever drugs he's taking. So they don't want to get to that point. That's why my friend I was telling you about injects this pentazocine every 4 hours as she's traveling. That's why she couldn't make my invitation to somewhere around Kefi, because she says she has to make provision for pentazocine she has to inject to be able to do that trip. But she started because she has a medical condition, sickle cell anemia. So the area of drugs is a wide and big area. We did not remember to mention about branding. This is marijuana leaf.
Okay.
This is now stockings. It's branded. People are no longer comfortable with just using the drugs. People want to wear it. People want to wear paraphernalias. This is marijuana leaf. I see it everywhere. I just buy them. I see cap of it. In fact, I enter public transport, the one they called keke or so, and I see their seats branded with these leaves. Rightly. This one is cocaine.
It's written all over it.
Yes. Then this one is a stockings. You see the leaf.
A short.
A boxer or so, or a short. If you see the leaf, you see it's the same thing.
Audible.
Then you see this one now.
Hanky or the bandana.
You see it.
Yeah.
The same marijuana leaf.
Oh, these are bandanas. Okay.
Then you see this one. In fact, they were bold enough. They wrote the name on this one, cannabis sativa.
It's very funny.
So it's trying to. This is showing you that the people making this is an industry.
Yeah, the very big
that
industry.
wants to promote. Let everyone use this. And Alex, when everyone is start using this in our society, I don't think you and I will be very safe. You won't drive freely because children under the influence of these drugs will run into you even if you are an imam or you're a pastor. You are not using. This one, they say, be happy.
By smoking weed.
Yes. So it's because these drugs are mood-changing drugs.
Yeah.
For instance, if a child is not happy, maybe because his or her school fees is not paid, or maybe there is family disharmony, mother and father are not living well, and the child is not happy, and he goes to school, and the friends give him or her marijuana or gives him tramadol, it changes mood. These are mood-changing drugs. You can suddenly start smiling when you take them. And if you don't see it to take, you become angry. You become moody. That's why in the home, one of the things we teach parents is signs and symptoms. What do you look out for when the behavior of your child starts changing? Emotional regulation. If you smile small, come back. If since we started this event, I've been smiling, Alex, you'll be wondering what is wrong with me. Why am I just smiling? Happy for
no reason?
I have to regulate emotion. Drugs does not allow people to regulate emotion. Anger is also an emotion. Somebody gets angry, he stabs somebody, he can't control anger. Drugs is involved. That's why in many marriages, husbands are killing wives, wives are also killing husbands. It's increasing in our society of today.
Yeah.
If you check deeply, drugs may be involved in such marriages. There are many implications that we may not exhaust.
Okay.
But we want to tell parents that you need to be able to monitor your children. When behavior starts changing, bring that child to NDLEA for a 5 minutes drug test. Just urine you put inside here, and we can tell you whether your child is on Rohypnol, whether it's on marijuana, whether it's on tramadol, or any of the 12 different drugs. The NDLEA centers, 36 states of this federation, carries out this drug testing. Now, when you find out early as a parent, you can now know what to do. You can now take your child for counseling, take your child for treatment and rehabilitation early. Early identification is the key.
Okay, sir. So I want to ask you one question before we go fast. So who are the NDLEA going after? First of all, is it the abusers or the people that actually make it and sell it? Because, for instance, now let's assume you see somebody smoking weed. Are the NDLEA allowed to go after that person and penalize him? Is it going to be, facing the consequences for breaking the law of smoking weed because it's not legal in Nigeria, it's still illegal? Or they are going after those people that are actually making it in a large quantity and distributing it and selling it out to the youth?
Okay. When we were starting this conversation earlier, I remembered I said, these are illegal drugs now.
Yes.
Planting is an offense.
Yes.
Holding is an offense.
Okay.
Using is an offense. Transporting is an offense. So once you're holding, if we see you with one wrap, we're supposed to arrest you.
Okay. Carry you.
Then, if you are even producing in large quantity, you are our major target. Don't forget, right now, people import this. We can have a container come into the wharf, a 40-footer container with this 400 milligram to 500 milligram tablets, which are not prescribed, which are for the streets. So production of this and all this is an offense. Our major target, because NDLEA, of course, is zeroing in on intelligence-led policing and all that, targeting the producers and the dealers.
Yeah, because the more you arrest the dealers, the lesser the
drugs.
Yes,
once you quench it from the source, there won't be. But of course, Alex, we are not going to start clapping for the smokers. Okay. The truth is that in law enforcement, this is not civil policing. This is not, let me say, the average policing where you can go and invite a suspect and the policeman is going back to the station. You can't do that with drug law enforcement. If you do that, they kill officers in operations. Okay. That's why you have to plan your operations. You don't have the luxury of time in operation scene. You will have planned, know the target in that place, know who you are coming for, and you go there. You also plan the time you come so that not enough people will be at wake. You pick up your target and you pick him with exhibits, because that's the proof that he's doing it.
He's doing it, yes.
And you leave that scene as quickly as possible. So oftentimes when we do raid is now we target where plenty people are smoking or using. We come in there with our enforcement team. We pick people. You don't have the luxury of time to start asking, are you smoking or you're not smoking? Go here, go here. You pick both the target and those holding and smoking. When you get back to the office, you now start separating them. Those that are smokers, you can't start clapping for them. Those are the people that benefit from our brief counseling intervention. There's a unit in NDLEA called the Drug Demand Reduction Directorate. They channel them out. Because which space are you going to put the number of smokers we have these days, for instance?
Nigeria is too much.
Your cell can't take them.
My generation is gone.
So what you do is that when you come into contact with them, that's the first time some of them may receive this kind of education.
Yeah.
Then you counsel, you educate, then you release. But the dealers, there's a case file compiled to the Federal High Court where we prosecute.
Yeah.
And the judge, if the judge start entertaining smokers, how many number of smokers do we have? So, but they still need to understand that they are committing an offense and that their lives are being changed for the worse if they continue to smoke or use those substances.
Okay, my people, I hope you guys have learned something from my boss. I can't be able to call his name though. His name is written in his shirt, Unduka, but I can't be able to pronounce his name because he's still an elderly man. He's way above my age. So I hope you have heard how he was able to detail and break it down to the least. You understand? Because when you bring in people that are well grounded in their field, they can be able to break it down for you to understand. It's not just about using the drugs, it's about understanding the effects and the aftermath. And when you are being caught, you also get penalized. And my advice for you as my young generation, please stay away from drugs. These guys are not joking. If you like they come after you, even though they catch you with rap, my guy, they go. So please, I'm just asking for the sake of sanity, please stay away from drugs. Say no to drugs. And I'm happy to get the NDLEA with me. So though they say they are coming back, I'm very, it was not easy getting them. And so we say we are very privileged to host you at the Lexicon Multiconcept Media. We don't take this privilege for granted. And we hope to see you guys next time here. Please, if you guys are, chance to come and, show your support and educate our viewers more on staying away from drugs. And for the next episode, you guys should stay tuned, like, share, subscribe. It's your boy Retalk with Eddie Billions. Till next time.